Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Welcome to the show, y'all. This story is about a guy that I know named David, man. Me and David, we were cool. I'm not going to say that we were friends, but we were cool. You know, I did business with him a few times and whatnot. But one time he tried to introduce this game to me called the TaxCon, right? And I had heard about people doing it, but I refused to do it. You know what I'm saying? I had been told, you know, how risky it is. So I stayed away from it. But I'm going to tell you this story about him and how he was able to make uh, thousands of dollars doing this. I mean, thousands upon thousands of dollars. But let me give you this story. I'm pretty sure some of y'all might already be aware of this, but I'm going to tell you this because I want you to be aware of how intricate somebody on the streets is to the actual pulling off of this and how the person that's on the streets can be left holding the bag, right? So look, check this out. David, every year in April, he'll start like in March, as a matter of fact, and he'll start going around the penitentiary, especially to people that are just coming in or young and don't know or whatever the case may be, right? He'd go around and he'd be talking to people, you know, because that's how it is in here. You know, you can't be an anonymous criminal, you know what I'm saying? If nobody knows what you're doing, then you don't have a way to get your bread. So he would go around, you know what I'm saying, and be talking to especially these young guys that he knew that would get high and stuff like that and they need money, didn't have a TV. And he said, look, I got a way that you can get you some bread, you know what I'm saying, but you're going to have to trust me, right? And then they trust you how? You know, and he would tell them, do you know your social security number? And they would all be like, yeah, I know my social security number, whatever. So he's like, give me your social security number, I'm going to get you a tax refund. Now, most of the people that come into the penitentiary that never had a job for the most part don't really know that we don't get a tax refund. You got to make a minimum of $5,000. You got to make a minimum of $5,000 back in the day before you can get eligible to get a tax refund. But what a lot of y'all out there don't know is this. When we have a job in here and we're working, we get, you know, a W-2 just like you do, right? But at the end of the year, you know, we might make $900, $600, $720, whatever the case may be, because we're only being paid anywhere from 17 to 59 cents an hour. Some people a little bit more than that in special circumstances. But when we get our tax form, it says what we made, and we're not even eligible to file. You feel what I'm saying? But we still get that tax form back from, you know what I'm saying, the IRS, our employer, which is TDOC, the Department of Corrections, right? But that don't mean we can file. But a lot of people in here that don't know that, it's easy to manipulate them. So David would tell them, look, let me get the tax card form when they pass them out, because they pass them out to us before April. But they also let us know, look, you can't file income taxes, blah, blah, blah. So they would do that, and they get all excited. He said, look, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you, depending on how much we get back, you'll get $1,200 to $1,800. You feel me? And he would take $600 off of everybody that he did, okay? And he'd give them the rest. So here we go. He goes around, he'll have probably 20 or 30 people that would do it every freaking year. Every year, he had no less than 20 to 30 people doing it, right? So how much money is there for him? You know what I'm saying? If David is getting $600 for each one of those, right, that's about $18,000 for him. And if he's getting them, you know, $1,800, and then he takes $6 and they keep $1,200, and he's got about, let's say on the top end, right, he's got 30 people doing it, right? And after he gets all the money back, total, all of those people, he's getting like $36,000 back for them, right? So when you add that up and you see what the total amount of that is, right, that's about $54,000 that he's hitting for every year. Every year. But here's the thing. It doesn't work if he doesn't have a way to get the checks cashed. You see what I'm saying? Because he can't have the checks sent to the penitentiary. He can't do that because when that IRS check comes to the penitentiary, they're going to be like, how did you get this? Where did this come from? So on and so forth. So they would freeze that check before they cash it and check with the IRS and let them know, you know, this person's incarcerated, blah, 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 blah. and the gig is up. So what he would do, he would always have a girlfriend, right? And he would trick them into believing that, look, in here, these guys, if they get these checks cashed in here, they're going to have to give half of it to the state. Whatever lie he would tell her. And this particular year that he was getting at me, his girlfriend, she fell for it, right? She was like, oh, yeah, I'll help them out, this, and that. And she didn't get one nickel for this. So this is what he did. He got her, because when you get those tax refunds, you got to have an address. So he had her address put on the tax forms so that all of those checks back to back would be sent to her house. Now, let me put you up on something, right? Back in the day when this stuff was going on, when it was really going down, they didn't have Green Dot. They didn't have Cash App. They didn't have Venmo. They didn't have things like that where you can put it directly onto a card. So that hard check is what got sent. And it had to get sent to an address. You understand? So when he would have all of these checks sent to her, the next thing he would do, he would get her to deposit those checks in her account. And she would do that. Now, all of them didn't come at one time. He spreaded them out. He doesn't determine when they come, but they never all came at one time. So he would have them deposited. She would deposit them in her account, a little here, a little there, and he spread it out, right? Now, she's running these checks through her account because she's thinking that she's doing somebody a solid. She's helping him and she's helping them. She don't mind. You feel me? So now when time for the checks to get cashed, the money to be withdrawn, she would withdraw the money and send it to the individuals that it belonged to. He would give her their name, their TDOC number, and then she would send the money to their accounts. Everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Now, some situations, the guys might want the money sent to their girlfriend or so on and so forth for their family member, and she would do that. Never took a dime. Never took a dime. Now, sometimes David would give her a couple of $100 to show he appreciated her, right? But more than anything, it was like she wanted to do this to show her man that she had his back. And he was more than willing to take advantage of that. But see, a lot of people don't understand the other side of this game. They don't understand the other side of this game. Why would David, or why would anybody doing this game be so willing to take a small amount of the money and taking all the risk? You feel me? One, his name is nowhere in it. He's got his girl's name and address. You feel what I'm saying? Not his girl's name, but his girl's address and her bank account locked in on the one end. And it's their names, the guys in the penitentiary, it's their names on the paperwork. He's just doing the paperwork. They're paying him for the game, right? Now, it's nothing that you can tangibly touch to connect him to any of it. Any of it. And then on top of that, he would take all of their information. Now, once he has their social security number, birthday, and all of that kind of stuff, right? He would take that information that he would have on everybody. And he'd been doing this for years. And then he would get credit cards in their names. Especially people that just came into the system or young, he'd get credit cards in their name. And then he would run up these credit cards, maxing them out, getting the money off of them, right? And then putting that in a separate account. Now he's really paid, but they don't know it. They don't know he's getting thousands upon thousands off of them. That's how he hustled. He didn't sell dope in the penitentiary. He had the tax con. So here's what happened. Let me tell you the downside to what happened in this hustle. One day, somebody got to complaining because their money didn't get there. Something happened. You know what I'm saying? She put sent the money to the wrong account. Something happened where this young dude didn't get his money. So now he's starting to complain because why? He's thinking that he can legitimately get a tax refund because this is what David has convinced him of. So when he goes to the counselor, he says, look, I didn't get my tax refund check. I filled it out this is that. So now the counselor, they already, you know what I'm saying, are aware that we're not allowed to get tax refunds. So they teach them during that time of the year, be aware and keep the lookout for individuals in here that might be trying to con and get tax refund. So she sat there, she let him talk. And he just running his mouth. She said, well, who filled it out for you? He told her. Now, what address did it go to? He told her. How much was it? He told her. So, unbeknownst to him, they came, when he finished giving up all the business, they came in, she had him put in the hole, take him to the hole, pending investigation. He don't know what he going to the hole for. He's like, what did I do wrong? They ain't telling him nothing. They take him straight to the hole. What they don't know, they're taking him to the hole for his protection, because they finna kick the door in on this time. So this is what happened. After they put him in the hole, they go get David. They call the IRS. They go to the house. They go to his girl's house, knock on the door. Bam, bam, bam. What's going on? So they start questioning her, asking her about all of these individuals. She's not knowing that she's done anything wrong. She said, yeah, I helped them. My boyfriend wanted me to help them because they get their tax refunds and they didn't want the state to take half of their money, so I helped them do it this way and that way. What did I do wrong? They said, ma'am, you did not realize that inmates are not allowed to get tax refunds. You didn't know that. See, here's the distinction between that. Like I said, you got to earn more than $5,000 before you can even file. You understand what I'm saying? And it may have changed today, but back then that's what it was. So if you file a tax refund for a tax refund, you better have some income coming in, and it better fall up under that level to where you are eligible to even file. Most inmates only make, it's like I said, 17 to 59 cents an hour. So when you get your tax stuff back in a year, it's going to be right at around anywhere from $600 to $900. You're not going to be able to file. But she didn't know that. She didn't know that. See, David done tricked both sides. He didn't let the right hand know what the left was doing. So now she's being forthcoming, and she's telling the IRS agents that's questioning her everything. Now they're sitting there and they're writing it down. At first, they're skeptical. They don't believe her. They don't believe her. So then they start to question all of the individuals that she gave their names. She gave them to the feds. They go question all of them, and they basically are in the blind too. They're telling them, look, this is what he told us. This is what he told. And this story is being repeated over and over and over about all of these dudes. So they come to the conclusion, I'm telling y'all, this is real stuff right here. They come to the conclusion that she had been tricked and they had been tricked, right? So they wanted to get David. They wanted to get David. But here he was so slick. And I'm telling you, this dude was so slick, they couldn't get him. They had all these people saying he did this and saying he did that, but they had no real solid proof. Keep in mind, back then, they didn't have cell phone to do text messages, right? He would only tell her what he needed to tell her at visits. You feel me? Not over the phone, not in letters. He never left a trail to be connected to him. They can only connect him by saying that he was the common denominator in everybody's issue. But they had to have more than that. They had to have some tangible proof. They believe that he did it. They just can prove that he did it. And that's what it is in court. It's not what you think, it's what you can prove. So they ended up constantly investigating. They investigated for about a year trying to find anything to pin this on David. Now, she had stopped talking to him, wouldn't take his phone calls no more, stopped coming to visit him, everything. Took her name off his visitation list. Now, these young dudes, some of them young dudes is gang members, they trying to get at David, but he don't care. He been hustling like this for years. They'll send him to another penitentiary. He'll keep doing it. You feel me? But here's the thing. Here's the thing about this game. When the game got graduated, you know, as far as like when cell phones got introduced to the penitentiary, green dots got introduced to the penitentiary, all that kind of stuff, it created a paper trail. And David kept doing this stuff. He kept doing it. I ran into him again at another facility, right? He's still doing his thing. He getting his money. You feel what I'm saying? But now it's easier. You feel me? He still needed an address because he had the green dot cards. He had the green dot cards now. So the money could be put directly on the green dots, you know, because it's got a routing number. So what happened is this. He still had to have an address for the green dot cards to go to. So he would get on his phone and he'd fill out for these individuals. He'd fill out and get him a green dot card, and he had it sent to his sister's house. Yes, his sister. And his sister, she was getting broke off too, right? She knew he was getting money like that. You know, she'd been known for years. But these green dots were going there, right? And then what happened is they had been watching and keeping track of it. Over all of these years, it's about 6 or 7 years done passed since he got away that last time. They've been keeping track of it, watching him. See, the Fed's real patient. Y'all got to understand that. Then when they caught him through his sister. Because they had like all of these green dots going to the address. Green dot cards, right? When I say that, right? Because you get a card. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't know. So when they bumped down on his sister, she got 2 kids and all this and that. She was like, I ain't going to penitentiary for him. She gave up the ghost. Told him how much he was doing and all this and that, right? So this time when they bumped down on David, they got the proof. They bumped down on him. They had the proof. And then he owned up to it. He took the charge. He owned up to it. Took the charge, got found guilty, ended up with nothing but 8 years in the feds for it. 8 years. Thousands of dollars. He had to pay the money back, but he didn't have the money to pay back. He didn't have it to pay back. And right now, he's on the streets. He's out on the streets. But that is one of those cons that a lot of people out there are not aware of. Now, the reason I say you should be aware of that, be on the lookout. If somebody were to tell you, I need to send something to your address, I need to do this, I need to do that, you need to question that, because they might be using you to do something that they're not allowed to do. And it could cause you to end up being the one to go to jail. And you lose everything by not knowing what's going on. You feel what I'm saying? Just thought I would drop that on you real quick, right? Because a lot of people been getting at me, right, about tell us about some of the things that be going on this level, on that level, right? And again, let me add this to this story too. It's harder to do that today because now the IRS, they've created a database where they got all of the inmates' information in there, right? So if you don't have a legitimate business, a legitimate cause, it's going to red flag. You feel what I'm saying? So for those of you out there to say, well, Joe, you gave up the game and they can't get money. No, they can't get money like that no more anyway. But the larger issue here is always question if somebody in the penitentiary is asking you to do something and it doesn't make sense to you. Question that. And if it don't make sense to you, you might want to back out of it, especially if it's something that you dealing with money. You might want to be aware of that. You feel what I'm saying? Because the game get raw. The game will get raw. Now, before I wrap up this episode, I want to let y'all know that something real special is happening for me. I've been fortunate enough to be put in contact with somebody that is going to be turning my book Rivals, which is still available. Look in the description section of this episode and you'll see a link to where you can go buy my book Rivals for $20. You know what I'm saying? It's at printcuda.com /books/rivals. You'll see that on there, right? But at the end of the day, my book Rivals, I've been fortunate enough to find somebody that wants to turn my book into a movie. Now, it's not a regular type of movie. It's an animated movie. And I'm excited about that. And they're willing to work with me, and they've been working with me, and the script is completed. It's going to be a process to where it takes a few months before it's done. But when it is done, y'all, this movie is going to be put up on my YouTube page, but it's going to be in the membership section. You're going to have to sign up as a member. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to charge a little fee for people to watch it, right? Because, you know, it's costing me a little money to get this made. But I am just fortunate enough to have somebody that is willing to work with me and turn this vision that I have into a reality, turn it into something that you can actually see. And I really hope that you support me on that, and I really appreciate all the support I've been getting from everybody out there. But in a few months, you're going to be seeing Rivals, the movie. It's coming. It's coming, y'all. I just wanted to say that and let y'all know. And like I said, if you haven't gotten the book, look in the description section. The link is going to be on there, right? And you'll be able to click on that link, and it'll take you straight to where you can buy the book. You know what I'm saying? It's for $20. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. And I say peace, y'all.